Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. West side, raise it up. 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 North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. The west side, raise it up. 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 Raise it up.
Hey loves, hey loves, hey loves. My name is YN Vaughn. I also go by Y. This is another incredible episode of Raise It Up Y, the podcast. We are coming at you the final Thursday, January 2025, in an episode we are calling the same thing as my book that just came out this month on the 13th, A Woman Winnin in the West. Okay, that's my Eastie voice. Okay, we're not gonna get into that. We're very, very thankful here to be culminating our 6th year of the podcast. We are starting our 7th year of the podcast, and new year, new book, new rejuvenated sense of self. Hopefully, not that you are necessarily a new individual, but rather that you are renewing your allegiance to your authenticity and your genuine self. That's what we're looking to do with this episode, and start the new year for real, in case you kind of sleepwalked through these last few weeks, and here it is now, the last Thursday of January, and you're like, wait, I said I wanted to start doing fill in the blank, and I still haven't done fill in the blank. Allow this episode to act like your personal accountability partner to say, hey, we still see you. We being me, Onette, Susie, 13 Presents as a whole, and all of the folks that are looking to see you do well, like Loves Within Love Culture, the supporters of this podcast. We all are counting on you, because you, whoever is listening, you're a sure bet. That's how that goes. I want to say to all of my listeners who are simply listening to the podcast, thank you. Faith comes by hearing, and I haven't met a person who can unhear anything yet. So your valuable ears are very, very thankful that we get to share that space, time, and energy with you. And then for my onlookers, my love onlookers on YouTube, I'm going to say thank you for consuming this beauty of this set that my angels have put together. Heroni Arrangements has done it again. We'll get into that in a second. But I just want you to know, let me please say, I feel so thankful that you spend your non-refundable time and energy with me and my crew for about an hour once a month, just to tap in with you and make sure that you're enveloping yourself into your life. All right. You can do this life without you. All right. Walking around people pleasing, being arrested by your fears, living up to others' goals and expectations. You can live your entire life and forget about you. Trust and believe. So this little pocket of time, little 1 hour every month, if you only listen to this podcast and that's the only way you connect with us, is just a way for this therapeutic edutainer, clearly author as well, to say, hey, I hope you're remembering to include you in your life. All right. For everyone who might be new here, Raise It Up Y is where OGs, original guides, kick game to real ones only. Real ones are the students in this space. OGs are the educators in this space. When we say raise it up, why? What are we raising? We are raising your self-awareness, your vibration, and your capacity for love, which is knowledge. Last year, we really focused in on expanding your capacity for love. So if you are an individual that's like, what does that mean, your capacity for love? And what does that look like? You can take in any episode from 2024. You will have a bomb time. As for this year, we're going to call back lessons that we've kind of visited in the already culminated 6 years of this podcast, because there's gems all throughout our legacy, our history, that I want to make sure I kind of reinvigorate in 2025 to renew the concepts and the ideas shared, just to make sure that you're still growing in those areas as well. And for new people, just so that you learn we have these things in our archives. I just want to kind of put that back in the forefront. If you are a person who enjoys this podcast, you are probably called a love, and you are a member of Love Culture. The Love Culture community is invested into welcoming new folks in, and of course, always making sure that we show love and support to all of the OGs and folks who have been here for a cool minute. So that's all the intro, big intro for the first episode of the year. We ground. We start every episode with grounding, and today is no different. I mentioned earlier, I'm a therapeutic edutainer. Therapy is just something I studied. It's not a practice of mine traditionally. However, being in this space as an edutainer on this podcast is one of the places where I get to utilize some of the tools I learned in the space of therapy. And this grounding is no different. Let's separate the space. Wherever you were before you tuned in to wherever you are now. And we do that by a technique called grounding. So what I'd like you to do is take a moment, really be here with me, hear my voice, feel your feet, bring your awareness up through your body, wiggle your toes, come up, touch your nose, and you're just doing that to recognize that you are here. Breathe a breath in, blow a breath out. Do it again. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Take a moment. Own this. This is a miracle called life. That you are breathing and winning just because you're living this life, just by spending time with my voice right now. You're investing into your betterment. I'd like you to sit with that. Feel proud, and let's go up. Every episode of Raise It Up Why features 2 of 5 varied segments. And today we will go over a Raise 'em Up, which is where I get to edutain in my unique way, and a Break It Down, which is where we uncover the already existing genius in hip hop culture. Let's start with this Raise 'em Up though. Let's start with this Raise 'em Up. This is going to come from the book that is also the title of this episode, A Woman Winnin in the West. Chapter 9 to be exact. Chapter 9 of A Woman Winnin in the West by yours truly, Wyan Vaughn. The book came out January 13th. This is my first book that is not poetry. My first book of prose. This is 13 lessons on how to have legacy in the music industry. And I personally wrote this for all of the ladies that are in this industry that I've never gotten the pleasure of encouraging or mentoring or getting to share space with and have some conversations with, like I have been able to do with a lot of gentlemen, young men, growner men in the industry who, to break the fourth wall, we are taping this the night before we celebrate 1500 or Nothing Day here in Los Angeles. Shouts out to my brothers, Rance Dobson, CEO of 1500 or Nothing, as well as James Fauntleroy, one of the homies, one of the coldest pens in all of music, not just hip hop, not just black music, not just R&B. If you think he sings well, I don't know if you know that he started out as a rapper and can rap you, freestyle you under a table. Don't mess with that boy. So I'll be seeing them tomorrow. Again, just breaking that fourth wall right here. I bring that up though, because Rance invited me to help him create a school. It's called the 1500 Sound Academy here in Inglewood, California. And in being allowed to be on the ground floor, the think tank of that school, when it was literally just an idea amongst a couple of the homies, to see what it's become now is incredible. I bring that up because while having this opportunity to create the 1500 Sound Academy alongside Rance and other members of 1500 or nothing, I get to have classrooms of young ladies, hopefuls in the industry, whether they want to be dancers, whether they are singers, whether they are writers, songwriters, poets, all of the things that you can be in the industry. I've gotten to see a few of these ladies, but I see them very few and far in between. So as I got the book done on the 13th and was able to start sending it out to people, one of the first sets of folks that I was sending the book out to was my students, my lady students, that maybe we got a few sessions, a few classes, a few workshops in together, and then it's right back to, you know, a general topic or everyone's topic, something that anyone could relate to. I think ladies have a very unique navigation through the hip hop space, the music industry at large, the entertainment industry at large. But A Woman Winning in the West is a space where I was able to just plop a bunch of lessons. And the lesson I want to share with y'all today from the book comes from chapter 9, title, Love is all there is in the world, yet love alone is never enough. And that conversation comes up a lot where ladies are concerned in the industry, because being around powerful entities, and especially powerful masculine energy, abundant, rich, wealthy masculine energy, especially if you're a young hopeful getting in the game and, you know, you're finally being recognized by a person, a gentleman that you've probably crushed on their music and their career since you were a kid, and then you get to meet them and then they're right there with you, and maybe they're giving you energy that says, wait, I think he likes me and I like him too. Listen now. Listen now. I want you to learn the difference between attachment and relationship. Some of you know that my first degree is in child development and family studies. All right. When you're learning about how a parent and a child interact, they use the word attachment to talk about how the dependent or the child engages with, experiences the adult. When you examine that same relationship opposite day from the parent or the caregiver to the child, it's not even called the same word. It's called bonding. Caregivers bond to children. Children attach to caregivers. Why is that important? Why are we bringing that up today? Not just ladies, and I explained that in my book, that I don't want only ladies to feel like they can learn from this book, because the lessons in here, once you start to read some of the chapters, names and titles, you'll see like, oh wait, I can see why this is important for me too. Or that sounds so absurd, I just have to actually read what that is, whether it's for specifically a gender or not. Like, I need to see what the hell she's talking about, because some of these chapter titles are pretty interesting. When we're talking about this idea of attachment. What I need everyone to understand is a dependent individual. A dependent is not an independent person. A dependent, like an infant, is an individual that needs another person to survive, to live, to make it. People who are dependents in this country are usually called children. Minors. A minor. My bad. A minor. My bad. For everybody listening, I have on a shirt that my little sister got me for Christmas, and it definitely says, and I quote, mustard. So yeah, you guys know where I am. A woman in the West. Like, talk to me nice. A woman winning in the West, no less. I bring this up though to say, if you're a minor or a child or an infant or a toddler, a teen, all of these words signify that you couldn't sign your own permission slip to go off campus at a school somewhere. If you are a dependent, legally, entities, the country, jobs don't recognize you or your word with authority. A 12-year-old can't go into a restaurant and demand to see the manager. I mean, they can, but I would be very surprised if the manager took anything very, very seriously from this 12-year-old. Not to say that the 12-year-old couldn't have a legitimate concern to talk about, but rather, aren't you supposed to be in 7th grade somewhere? You know what I mean? Like, you just look and you're like, why are you engaging with me right now? You know what I'm saying? Because we look to protect children, minors, vulnerable populations in terms of age without authority. We look to protect them. But any adult can tell you, I don't see a 6-year-old as my peer. If I'm 24, which to a 42-year-old like me right now, a 24-year-old is still a kid to me. But if you're 24 at USC and a 13-year-old middle schooler / maybe just starting high schooler comes up to you and wants to have like, hey, I have big problems with you and I think we need to have a talk and I'm going to tell you about yourself. I think the 24-year-old says, huh? What? I just think there are so many other questions that will come up because it's hard to see someone who doesn't possess authority try to be seen as a peer or someone with parity. That seems fine and dandy. It almost seems common sense, maybe. However, in the world of relationship, what happens is, whether you're in the music industry, the entertainment industry, if you're a woman winning in the West, East, South, Zimbabwe, I don't care where you are. This kind of goes for life. A lot of the lessons in the book, I start at a woman winning in the West, but really these are life topics, right? They can all be expanded mostly. When you date someone, you're not just dating them, you're dating their entire history, right? You're dating all of the parts of them that learned to attach securely, anxiously, avoidantly, or didn't attach at all to a caregiver. And if you're in a relationship as an adult and you want love, again, love is all there is in the world, but love alone is never enough. If you're looking to connect, that's a different word from attach, isn't it? If you're looking to connect with an individual who can only attach simply because they've never looked at themselves with authority, they've never taken time to go back themselves and parent the wounded child within, or at least acknowledge that that child exists in some way, shape, or form, what ends up happening is, and I talk about this in the chapter, you end up being the surrogate parent, the adult. For strong-willed ladies, you can almost exude all of the masculine energy, because where the gentleman is concerned, if he's never sought to employ authority in his life, then he might only look to be taken care of, to be served, as opposed to being a person with abundance who can provide service. If you were reading Dondre Whitfield's book, Male versus Man, that's the exact definition. And that's the exact distinguishing factor to whether you're dealing with a grown male, a person seeking to be serviced, or a grown man, a person who who seeks to serve. In my world, in my vernacular, I've always distinguished those two segments of men or males as well. I call guys grown males, like Dondre calls grown males. I call dependent attachers who happen to have penises and are grown, I call those guys guys. Dondre Whitfield calls them grown males. I call men who have done the work on themselves, or at least are aware of themselves and seek to take up protecting, being of service, professing, and providing for a family, for folks around them, for friends. Those are men to me. And Dondre Whitfield, author of Male versus Man, would say the same thing. And here's a very practical example. Ladies, if you ever go out with a couple folks, guys and girls, let's just say, and for everyone that's non-binary, you can fill in any of the genders that you enjoy. I'm a heterosexual woman, so when I speak, I innately see heterosexual through a heterosexual lens, but whatever gender, pronoun, thing that you prefer, never hesitate in life, not just right now, not just reading my book and not just listening to this podcast. In life, don't wait to be invited to the party. You have the authority to just change the pronoun for yourself. You understand? Don't wait to be invited. You're worthy of the experience. So just see yourself there, right? Right. All right. Here's a very practical example. You're out. It's a few people, and you guys happen to be all at a spot. You didn't know that you all were going to be at this spot together. Maybe it's some form of a lounge, and it might have just been you and a couple of your friends, and then a couple of your guy friends are joining, and then you happen to see a few other folks. So there's, let's say, 7 people there, 4 guys, 3 ladies, and you guys are all at a place somewhere. I'm just making this up. Next thing I know, the bill comes for whatever you all have ordered. Drinks, apps, whatever it is. If you are with grown males, as Dondre Whitfield would call it, or guys, as I would call it, none of the gentlemen would seek to see the bill. Mind you, this is just a platonic thing. Everybody just came out. You know that you have to pay for at least your own stuff. So when the bill comes, at least look to see what you contributed to the bill, right? That's just being an adult. So if you're out with 4 guys and one or none of them seek to look at the bill, you're probably dealing with a guy who needs to be served. He needs help. He doesn't have it to be of service, right? And gents listening to this who are already protesting in your head, if that situation ever happens to you, just don't get anything. Like, you can make this simple. I don't know why it gets deep for some people. But anyways, yeah. And then you avoid the whole check looking thing, looking weird. In my experience, a similar situation has happened. And how I knew I was with men was the 4 guys and the 3 girls looking at the table. The bill comes and the 4 men have an argument over who's going to pay. Stop. Give me that, bro. I promise you. One guy would just go and say, here, I have the car. When you're in a situation like that, ladies or gentlemen, or however you identify, that's an example of someone who has their stuff in order to the point where they can be of service. Notice the precursor. Has their stuff in order to be of service. Okay? You can only have a relationship, successful relationship, with people who have their things in order. If you don't, I don't care when you learn it, you will realize you are in some form of an attached relationship, some form of an attached relationship. And again, from child development, there are, I think, 3 attachments: avoidant, secure, and anxious. I think those are the 3 that they recognize. And then if you just didn't have the caregiver there, I believe then it's like just disconnected or it just didn't happen, sort of a thing. If that's something that interests you, you guys let me know in the comments and I'll do a deeper dive on the attachment versus relationship thing. But I wanted to read the end of the last paragraph of chapter 9 in A Woman Winnin in the West. I brought up a very personal experience from my history while I was talking about women winning in their careers, right? And in the final chapter, in the final paragraph of the chapter, I said, I used a personal example, ladies, to remind you that as you win in your career, your personal life can be in complete shambles. Your success requires your attention to both sides, rather all sides of you. As you'll see in chapter 10, which was the YN's Words of Wisdom from episode 77, chapter 10, love doesn't have an IQ. This just means you have to be smart for love. In and of itself, love doesn't determine compatibility or kindness. Love can't fix bad sex or bad hygiene. Love doesn't stop an abuser from abusing, nor an enabler from enabling. Love simply is. But relationships take loads of work. Keeping a healthy relationship with yourself and having a strong support system can help your relational success and your ability to truly love. That girl right. She can write. You understand me? Okay, we'll put that one down. Let's get to the break it down. I already explained what Raise 'em Up and Break It Down segments are. If you've missed it, rewind about 15 minutes and you'll find it. So I'm on Threads. That's Instagram's Twitter, if you will. I'm on Threads and, it's the top of the year and everyone's having conversations about Drake. Shouts out to Soulja Boy. Again, my shirt definitely represents the West Coast guy in that beef from last year, Mr. Kendrick himself. I put up a thread and the conversation generated from it, I felt was interesting enough to bring to the pod. So one of the things that I said was, Dear Drake, there is no escape from the corny. And that doesn't just go to Drake, that goes to everyone. There's no amount of money, there is no dick size, there is no wetness of pussy, there is no marital status or degree attainment that can save you from behaving like a cornball. For people on the West, being called corny or being called a cornball is probably equivalent to being called like out of your name. You know what I'm saying? Out of your name could be a bitch, a hoe ass nigga, a bitch ass nigga, any of those sorts of things. For my people from the reentry population and people who've been to correctional facilities, the worst word to be called there is a punk. So like in genders, you guys know that there are certain things you shouldn't say. People with different height disparities, there's certain things that you shouldn't say. Different abilities, there's certain things you shouldn't say. Yeah, those are all of the ways that those things kind of happen. So when you're from the West, being called corny, bro, yikes. That's why when we talk about the tagline of this podcast, we always talk about non-corny positivity, right? So, dear Drake, there's no escape from the corny. Even a slap, aka a hit song, might not bring you back from this one. This one meaning Drake is, as opposed to filing a petition, he withdraws his petition to UMG and Spotify and instead only files an actual lawsuit against UMG for losing the battle himself. As he's about to renegotiate his contract. You know what I'm saying? And it's an unfortunate situation because it just looks a different type of way than I think he anticipated the whole ordeal would look. So my comments were, this is something only therapy can fix. Maybe actually listening to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers could help. And there's a I don't know if I would call him a Drake stan, but he's definitely some form of a fan of Drake who is engaging with this particular post. But there was an account that made a really smart statement. Ambiguous Light says, I think pop music isn't personal for people. It's just something in the background. I think hip hop culture is personal for people who grew up in it. I think pop fans are learning just how serious people take their own culture and where they draw the line between something that sounds good and something they actually care about. That's why Drake didn't get it when you rapping like you trying to free the slaves was a bad bar to say to a culture created by formerly enslaved people. Ambiguous Light is killing this, by the way. I don't even know this individual in real life. Their profile picture looks like a peer. So I don't even know the gender of the individual. But they're out here killing it, whoever it is. And I wanted to jump on the back of that point, and I actually did in the thread. This is on my Wyanna threads, WYANNA, my music / author profile on Instagram and social media. But the thing that I think folks don't realize is Rayvon brought up a point when dissing Joey Badass back after Joey resurrected a Hove line that didn't age well, especially not while the West is winning like it is. In a freestyle that he put out on the first of the year, Joey Badass cavalierly said too much West Coast dick licking, as he wanted to include that. And interesting timing, you know. And Rayvon of TDE, no relation. I'm Wyan Vaughn, he's Rayvon. Exactly spelled the same Vaughn, but no relation. He's exceptional though as a rapper. Heavens. I started following him after that diss, by the way. But the idea is he said a line in his freestyle back to Joey Badass as a West Coast rapper, which was, The pop out, talking about the show that Kendrick did last year in like a victory lap on Juneteenth, talk about culture. The pop out really did shit for niggas who ain't got dads. I was like, whoa, he's talking. But not just the pop out, from the history of hip hop culture's existence, this music has done something for disenfranchised communities, mostly Black and brown Americans, where their origins, come from before being here in America, are Afro-diasporic, if you will. Spell that twice and say that 3 times, if you will. It's in my syllabus at USC. That's why I put that in there. However, a lot of people want to claim the origin of hip hop after the 50 some odd years of it being so successful. But I remember back in the day when people were talking about, this is a fad, it's only going to be here 15 years. Everybody wasn't trying to be its OG at that point. So it's like, whatever. Anyways, for people who felt orphaned by American society, especially, hip hop became a provider, a professor, and a protector that they didn't have. For people like Kendrick and who he represents, hip hop and life are one word. They overlap. And as you can hear Kendrick say a lot in this rap beef, even on GNX, okay, fuck your hip hop. I watched the party just died. Niggas cackling about, but all of y'all on trial. The idea is, if you have a problem with us, especially on the West, saying hip hop, I say that because there are some pioneers of hip hop who make remarks that make the term hip hop like a East Coast, very Bronx, South Bronx, New York sort of a thing. And it is to the point where there are certain rappers, especially here on the West, that be like, well, then fuck calling it hip hop then. Whatever you want to call it, y'all made it a hot line, we made it a hot song. Talk to us nice. The West Coast gave what's being called hip hop, whatever a rose by any other name is still a rose. Call it hip hop, call it rap culture, call it whatever you want to call it. This is something that happened way before the Kool Herc, August 11th, 1973, 1520 Sedgwick Ave after school party. We're talking about something, the music that even made its way to be played at that party had to have already existed. Rap is the youngest form of Black music and Black American music, not uniquely and only. However, the advent of what we know as rap culture, hip hop culture, started on American soil. Yes, origins come from Afro-diasporic spaces. American politics, American socioeconomic strata, and political climates and disenfranchisements are what created the conditions that we now know as hip hop. Let that never be twisted. I don't give a fuck who you try to make the originator of this stuff. Ice-T owns as much of this space as Melly Mel. Don't never get that fucked up. The Low End Theory was highly influenced by the production of Dr. Dre and NWA. I've heard the stories from the members of A Tribe Called Quest themselves. Don't never get the game fucked up. Like, all of this is related. The point being deeper than what I'm saying is, just like Ambiguous Light speaks about, popular music and pop culture is concerned with shit like Billboard numbers, who streams what, charts, stuff like that. For people like Nas, whose father instructed him not to return to his high school because it was where all the trouble, all the gang activity, the street pharmacists, the conflict, the violence was. And to save his son's life, he says, yeah, maybe no. And therefore, he picks up this pen and pad and he starts to write about the reality of being a young man in Queensbridge. When Joe Budden decides he's dropping out of school in around the 10th grade, he ends up completely connecting with this culture and a music with street dudes that put him in with Def Jam, to where he ends up having one of the biggest quote unquote one-hit wonders and now the most successful music podcast in the world with a 10th grade education. Nipsey, who on dedication says he's knowing he's a genius, but he can't claim it because they left him no platforms to explain it. And you wonder why Black boys feel disenfranchised, disconnected with educational systems. Yet they have an aspect of life. They have a route. They have a lane in life that they can employ and possess generational wealth. Nas, Nip, Joe, these are three different men in three different situations. And they were able to own the narratives of what would have been some form of a destructive story by way of being a part of this thing called hip hop, rap, whatever you want to look at it as. That's not small beans. So when you get someone who can make a separation between life and hip hop, it tells me you're some form of a proprietor of this space. Drake. And that's what a Drake supporter is saying in these comments, while Ambiguous Light and I are having a really productive conversation about how, as much as you might want to separate those words, life and hip hop, for the people that Kendrick represents, they are one. For the people that Drake represents, they see the culture such that they can pimp the butterfly. Another Kendrick reference. They commoditize the destruction of life that comes from uniquely American tragic situations for Black and brown youth. You're not, oh my God, you're not like us. I'm not even trying to say these titles. I'm not even joking with you. I wasn't even trying to say that. That is the epitome of not being like us. Mind you, even when I say us, YN Vaughn, I have to put an asterisk. I came from a 2-parent household with 2-car garage in the suburb of Los Angeles, looking over the city. I do not have a shared experience to a Nip or a Kendrick, I'm saying, or some of the other folks that I mentioned, whether it's Nas, whether it's Joe, whether it's Roxanne Shante, whether it's Light. I don't have a shared experience with those people. But what I do know is my cousins that grew up in group homes or were in and out of jail here in Los Angeles. The blue and red epidemic that plagued the men I dated throughout my whole life, whether we were in Pasadena or Los Angeles. If you didn't learn what afflicts a lot of men who identify with hip hop, young men, really boys, because I know we're saying young men, but I'm talking about dating history in like 16, 17. These are young people thrown in grown life or death situations, knowing what color to wear to what party. Like, that's a life or death situation. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's a very uniquely lived experience. And as a survival tactic, it affects me. You know what I'm saying? I have a little brother. I vet his friends, or vetted when he was younger. I had to vet his friends to make sure that, wait, who are they? What colors do they wear? Okay, who are they affiliated with? Da, 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 da. That's one of my ways of protecting my baby brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a lifestyle that whether we're in it or not, we have to make sure we understand in order to know how to well navigate it. So I thought that was just an interesting conversation to have for this Break It Down, where we uncover the already existing genius in hip hop. And shouts out to Threads and Ambiguous Light for that dope exchange in the comments of that particular post, because we, there's other stuff that we say in there, but that particular part, I thought that, if any of my students at USC wanted to hear just something else cool about this hip hop stuff, and they could, take it and have it to talk about in class, I thought that would be something fly for all of us. Moving right along, we're winding down the pod, getting to the last always segment of each episode, the YN's words of wisdom. Full transparency, YN's words of wisdom, being WWW, was highly influential in why I named my book A Woman Winnin in the West. I just figured it's a hashtag I already populate, the hashtag WWW, which is not very original because the World Wide Web, guys, the World Wide Web. You put WWW 13 million, you're like, you'll get lost in a sea. That's like metadata for anybody that doesn't know about why hashtags, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into it. I need you. I spoke about my USC class. Let me say this. YN's words of wisdom. When I fail to exercise discipline with my time, I effectively cut my value. I'll say it again. When I fail to exercise discipline, and in this case, with my time, I effectively cut my value. I think this YN's words of wisdom goes for more than just time. When you don't exercise a sense of your discipline, you will water down the potency of your value. Let me use a very clear example. I work at the University of South Central. Southern California, or Spoiled Children, however you want to look at it. We had a very good laugh about that. They were like, ha, ha, ha. I guess we are a little, yes, you are. So I get paid an hourly rate, right? Contract is already negotiated. It is what it is. For a certain amount of hours, me being on campus, I get paid a certain dollar amount to be on that campus. So let's just say, to use whole and round numbers, I get paid $100 an hour to be on campus for 4 hours a week. It's 400, Now let's split that up because it's 2 days. So I get paid $200 per day. All right. So class starts at 6. I get out at 8. I made my $200. Thank you very much. Everybody's happy. Peace out. What happens when I get to the school for the 6 o'clock, and because I love working with my students and I'm excited to be there and we are having such a good time, I lecture for 2 more hours instead of 6 to 8. Well, USC isn't giving me any more money. So I just took a $200 day for 2 hours and gave 4 hours for the same 200. What used to be YN works for $100 an hour now turned into YN working for $50 for 4 hours. 100, right? That's just a concrete example. None of those numbers are correct, by the way, but that's just a concrete example of how you can see, without exercising discipline, I come, I go, I do my thug thizzle. I cut in to my value. Without discipline in relationship, what ends up happening is you come to be with your mate, the individual that is well for you, that you vetted, that they vetted you, families, love. If you do it right, quote unquote right, you get married, tie up assets if you guys are a valuable couple. And then because of a lack of discipline in your focus, you step out. And as you step out, you end up, there's a couple ways this can happen. In one scenario, you can create another family, and now your money that used to go for one family is split into two. You cut the value. You stretch yourself too thin, right? Or in another scenario, your husband finds out that you've been out here doing extras, and now you're getting a divorce. And the money that the two of you made, the assets that the two of you owned, are divvied up, cut down, and the value becomes less. You don't get the same amount off on your taxes. You don't get a lot of the same perks because your value is less to even the government, right? You can do the same example with calorie intake and what you eat versus how much you work out and blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of examples. I bring this up because as I'm calling back episodes in all my YN's words of wisdom, I think of episode 14. Episode 14 was January 2020. And what I did with that episode is I talked about how I exercise discipline within myself that I then take out into the rest of my life. And I think discipline for me starts at my morning routine. And so I just wanted to reconnect you all with that episode and what I do, just in case it helps you as you begin this new year. One, just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. That is my 100% starter, is appreciation. In that appreciation, I also have affirmations for myself. So thanking God and affirming YN happens before my feet touch the ground. Once my feet touch the ground, I have a 15-minute affirmation that I listen to off of YouTube. However, that's just me turning it on, putting my ears in, and putting my phone down. I do not at all, touch my phone, check an email, take in a message for the first hour of my day. When I first started doing this, I couldn't do 15 minutes because you don't realize how addicted to your phone and the dopamine hits of knowing that somebody hit you or that you have a notification. It's all dopamine shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like somebody just shooting you up and you're just like, yeah, I'm important. And it's like, nigga. Anyways, in class, we talked about how I never mean night when the girl inside of the Apple phone, I say that so that they don't engage. I'll be writing, nigga, and next thing I know, it says night. And I'm like, the students got a kick out of that. So for 1 hour, no, there is no phone. But the first 15 minutes is affirmations that it's the reticular activating system, or the RAS, is what is being trained. And you're just learning to see, okay, everything is serving me in my day. Da, 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 da. I'm not speaking to YN who is thinking and fully aware. I'm programming my subconscious. That's what you want to do. So that's my first 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, of course, I'm making my coffee. Because, I don't really life without coffee. Is it life? Right, exactly. So making my coffee, but before I have coffee, drink at least 16 ounces of water. 16 ounces of water goes down first. And I keep a fast for the first 4 hours of my day, and I break my fast with some form of fruit. Because Wyann is learning to trust that she will feed herself, I cut down from 4 hours to 2 hours. So the first 2 hours of my day is a fast, and then I eat some form of fruit because they usually have enzymes that help you break down the rest of the food for the day, especially pineapples. Pineapples are also good for other reasons for guys and girls that we're not going to get into because that's not what we're talking about today. Okay, so yeah, and then after that, I do something physical. So I fed my spirit, I fed my mind, I feed myself physically, and I feed my heart by connecting with someone I love. So it can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be whoever it is, but I feed my heart by making sure I connect with someone that I love. And that's the first text or the first call of the day. So body, mind, spirit, and heart get fed in the first hour of my day. Before I take in the actual food, I usually do some form of short something, either 15 minutes yoga or something like that in that second hour. But I have my phone. Oh, and I post. Yeah, I don't use social media just to like scroll. It's another form of income for me. So my algorithmic peak is by that second hour. And so then I post, make sure that's up and cracking, and then I keep going with the rest of my day. I hope that making it very practical like that helps you all, because I talk about it on episode 14, but I don't think I paint a very practical picture for you all. And I think practicality is something else that I want to focus on in 2025. So you don't just know the information, but you get to see it as well. Y'all, we did it. We are here at Pay Your Dues. So before I get up and mother love and go, Mustang! Somebody gotta do it. Put my foot up on the gas. Somebody gotta continue. Yeah, I'm going to his concert. I got my ticket. I'm going. I will be there. I'm going to see Kendrick on Biggie's birthday, May 21. So damn dope. Anyway, I love the dude more than you knew. I'm over here touching all of his hair. It's Pay Your Dues is the portion of the podcast where I shout out businesses that I really, really believe in. I Love the Do is a team of my cousins, Brian and Maya Smith. And they make exceptional hair care products that can be purchased at everywhere from Walmart to Target to thedou.com, THEDOUX.com. I Love the Do on Instagram and all over your platforms is at ILOVETHEDOUX. I usually highlight some of their products, and they have 2 new products that are out and everything, but bump that for a second. I love my cousins because while they live in Atlanta, the business started in Germany. Maya, my cousin, is a LA girl. She started out here on the West with me. And once she learned about all these fires that happened, she and her husband, Brian, my other cousin, they hopped on a plane. They came out here and just started getting to work. Volunteering, manpower, feet on the ground. And those are the types of people whose businesses I will always uphold and seek to promote with the influence, whatever influence this podcast has. I love you, my cousin Maya, as well as Brian. And just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if you're looking at this episode way far in the future, uncharacteristically, Los Angeles suffered a slew of fires for the beginning of the year 2025, and it sucked some of the life out of the city, man. for all the LA natives, for people who lost a lot, their homes, their senses of security and more. And people who didn't lose physically these same things, but almost the feeling of damn near survivor's guilt that comes with like watching people you care about be inconsolably hurt and you feel powerless to what's happened. This has just been a very unique top of a year, at least for me. I'll speak for myself, but yeah, it's been a lot, man. It's been a lot. And people like Rhapsody, who also came out here, put feet on the ground and just started helping. Like, how do I use my influence? What can I do? Where do I help? I mean, I love the do rap. I love all of y'all, period. Pay Your Dues number 2, Demore Beauty, my baby girl that does my nails. Y'all know I usually go to that camera there, put my nails all in y'all face. I've been playing basketball, guys. I did my nails before I went to Hawaii. I started the year in Hawaii. Let me tell you guys something. No, I chipped it. I done grown it out. It's. You see, I've been keeping my hands down and stuff like that. No, I didn't do it. I don't know. I should have maybe called her before. Wait, I would have called her before. She had to evacuate because of the fires. She and her family. That was what it was. And I'm like, this is not the time. You know what I'm saying? So please send your prayers to my baby girl who does my nails, Kylin, at Demore Beauty, DEMOR Beauty, spelled correctly. Number 3, another CEO of this particular company as well. This founder of what we call Haroni.arrangements. Talk to her nice if you talk to her at all. HARONI.arrangements. Onet Zeleke. This is so beautiful. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to do anything that I'm touching it though. The vase is sex. She just brought it over in like a corporcornia of sex. It's pretty amazing. This is probably what weddings at my flowers are going to look like. That too. Flowers at my weddings or weddings at my flowers. And now I'm having 2 weddings. I mean, like, what are we talking about? I'm very thankful for my Team 13 Presents, and Haroni Arrangement is just a piece of it. Cup of Sue, what it do, is in the other room chilling. So I'm always thankful for both of my girls, my angels. They're not just my girls, they're my angels. That's number 3. Number 4, Love Culture at Large, always and forever. Each moment with you. I'm thankful for y'all and how you've supported A Woman Winnin in the West, which is, I guess, I'm also going to shout out my newest baby, my newest release. This book is something I hope that you learn from, laugh at, and feel loved by, all at the same time. So A Woman Winnin in the West is, by the time you hear this, it should be other places, but it's right now exclusively on Apple Books. For my non-Apple users, I should have something for you by this weekend. I'm gonna work on that. And in about 90 days, we're going to have an Audible book, an audio book. Hello. And I think 3 months after that, we'll do a physical. Let's get physical. Last and Never Least, at Raise It Up Y across your platforms. RAISEITUPWY. All the love say rockets up on these hoes. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for this wonderful time being here with y'all tonight, today, all of it. It has been a vibe all the time. I will be seeing you in 1 month. Please access us on Instagram at Raise It Up Y. Join the Love Culture community. Be a part of our weekly get-ups called Love Tuesdays on a West Coast Wednesday, now that I teach on Tuesday nights. But we have a bunch of ways to remain connected. Ask questions, read the book, send in questions, man. Right at the DMs of at Raise It Up Y. I would love to engage with y'all about the experience. If you have the book, rate the book. Leave a remark. You know what I'm saying? Do all the cool stuff, especially on the Apple, because that's where I only have it right now on this day. But it will be also on what is it? Amazon? No, Amazon goes everywhere. Okay, so I'll do Amazon. They be big tripping on how they pay out, but I'm gonna leave it alone. Yay, Amazon, Jeff Bezos. All right, y'all. I had an amazing time. My angels are ready to get up and go. It's cold in my house. Talk to me foreverly nice. And I will see y'all in a month. Thank you for all of your support in advance. Stay real, y'all. Boom, cake. Down. Betty Wang.
Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up.